We have a good Bonnie and Clyde story. Bonnie and Clyde are here, lock it up. And they went back into the vault and they saw the drawers laying in the floor.
We're checking out the Bonnie and Clyde vault.
So the vault, there's 2 doors.
Alarm goes off at 4:45. Roll out of bed, rub the sleep from my eyes. Throw on a shirt and some jeans and my boots, and then it's time.
Hello there.
You're an Ed Sheeran guy?
What's wrong with that chair?
Nothing.
Ty just arrived, bumping Ed Sheeran. All right, Mike here with Mike and Ty Ride Bikes, and Ty is here with us, and we are going to, well, that doesn't make sense. Here with who? Mike and Ty here with Mike and Ty Ride Bikes, and today we are meeting with the owner of the Gar Hole in Westminster, Texas. The owner's name is Spyder, and he's agreed to let us interview him, and we have a special thing that we're going to talk about towards the end.
Awesome.
Ty knows the secret.
Yep. I'm not telling nobody.
Nope. We might not even tell you.
Yes.
So come on, let's go.
Let's go.
Claude, Webb, everybody calls me Spyder. So we actually bought this building, and the first year was hit or miss. The government, you know, shutting us down several times. But we've been in operation now a little over 2 years. With my buddies from college, we had a dream of owning our own beer joint, so we jumped into this.
So technically you're living your dream right now.
Well, I like to tell people I've always lived the dream. I've always pretty much had a good time. But this was something a buddy of mine, Danny Buck, and he's a banker in Bernie. You mentioned Bernie a moment ago. And we promised each other one day we're going to do this. That's cool. So we finally did. 40 years later, we've done it. So.
What do you foresee? What is to come with this place?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Like I said, when we bought it, it had been a biker theme bar. You know, catered primarily to bikers. The parking lot would be full of bikes. They were pretty disappointed when it closed down because they really enjoyed the ride out here. When we bought it, the big question from them is it biker friendly? You know, I said, we're people friendly. You know, go to Lukenbach. You pull up at Lukenbach, the first thing you see is a row of Harleys parked out front, you know, and I said, but it's not exclusively a biker place. It's we love to have some good live music at night. Got a good grill that serves burgers and tacos, and I said, so yes, we do hope you guys will continue to ride out here and have fun. We got the big patio outside. They love to be out there when the weather's nice. But at night it changes a little bit. And most of them don't want to ride at night anyway.
Especially out here.
Yeah, this far in the middle of nowhere. You're going to hit a deer or a hog or something out here. And so it's been cool. You know, it's the best of both worlds. And I've laughed because I've looked out the front window and the parking lot's packed, and there's like a Harley and then an SUV and then a guy that rides his lawnmower up here. And so, you know, you see all kinds of people here, and everybody has really learned to get along and have fun. And we have special nights for bike nights, and we'll have, you know, cater to those guys, and they'll come up here. But for the most part, like I said, weekends during the day, big destination for, you know, cool cars, bikes, even guys riding their, you know, bicycles, their road bikes. You know, we'll see 20 or 30 of them come through here, and they'll stop. But and then at night, more of a live music crowd. Can hear some good Red Dirt music, or we have bands that do classic rock, you know, it depends, blues, it just depends on what we have. And we, as I said, we bought the building next door, which was the old custom bike shop, and that doubles the size of this indoor room, and we're in the process right now of building a big stage. Having
so
a
that's why there's a wall right
yeah,
here
that's why that temporary wall is there right now. We've already opened it up. There'll be a big stage, a dance floor. We'll probably have seating in here for close to 200 people.
Oh, wow.
And that way, right now we're kind of limited. When we have a band that draws a lot of people, we have to do it outside.
Right.
But then we'll be able to do any kind of band inside, and you know, the weather won't affect us. So that's our goal, is to have just a bigger venue to do more better things.
Okay. What are the seating arrangements for outside? Is there chairs and then standing?
Oh yeah, we have a big 24 by 12 stage. Okay. We've got tables and chairs that seat about 100.
Kind of picnic style?
Some of it's picnic tables, some of it's round tables. We have a big gravel area for seating, and then a concrete area with an old grain silo for a covering. So like I said, we've had entertainers like Jack Ingram's pretty well known. He played out there. We had 250 people that weekend out there in the patio area. So yeah, the outdoor venue is the most fun. Right. I love it out there. Yeah.
How do you advertise too, so everybody knows there's a great band that's playing here?
Well, we don't really have an advertising budget, but I really tap into social media any and every way I can, and you know, this will help you too. Whether it's our website, Facebook, YouTube channels like yours help us out a lot, but mostly it's been word of mouth.
That's good.
D Magazine, you might see over there. The cover of D Magazine, the Roadhouses edition, they came out here and did the cover on us. That didn't hurt. They did a 7-page spread. Oh, wow. I don't know what it cost to get 7 pages in D Magazine, but I think it's probably a lot.
Yeah.
But
that's great though.
But pretty much every doctor and dentist office in Dallas County has D Magazine, you know, in the lobby. So a lot of people have seen that, and then they named us the best roadhouse. So they put us in that other issue where it says we won. It says best of D Magazine, and so stuff like that. And that was just random. They just heard about us, word of mouth, and came out here and visited and included us in the deal. So we didn't, yeah. You know, our customer base starts with a group we call the Gar Hooligans, and that's a group of about 30 folks from day one. That this is their joint, you know, this is their beer joint, and kind of like Cheers. Yeah. You know, when they walk in, you know, Norm or Mitzi or whoever, you know, and so that's our core, and they're here several times a week, and some of them live a few miles from here. Then, of course, the weekends, like I said, we have a lot of guys riding bikes. They'll make the trip out here and begin showing up sometimes as early as 11 o'clock on Saturday or Sunday morning, so that's a big part of our customer base. But really, at night, we have live music every night. And so we get a lot of folks that want to get out, get a cold beer, get a burger, listen to some music, hang out. You know, it's kid-friendly. You know, we tell parents, you know, you can bring your kids out here if you want to. It's not like one of those new trendy places where there's 100 kids running around. But it's dog-friendly. Bring your dog if you want to. And so our goal is to grow it as Collin County grows, so we can accommodate the new growth and hopefully get to the place where we open every day for lunch and dinner and stay open until 11, 12 every night. Yeah, the guys that play here on a regular basis, you know, they know me, I know them, we're friends. I love music. I've got a band. Our band plays here.
You play too, right?
Yeah. So our band plays. That's a good thing. If you buy your own beer joint, you can book your band anytime you want.
It's a catchy name. Where did you come up with the Gar Hole?
Well, literally, you know, a gar. It's a fish. It's a fish, and you know, gar. They're known as being long, and they have a long snout and teeth. You know, so they call them an alligator gar.
Armor and everything else.
They're hard as hell, and you know, I grew up, when I was growing up in Dallas, my folks had a lake house at Cedar Creek Lake, and we used to go down there every weekend, and Dad would always complain because he'd put a trot line out, and the gar would eat up all the catfish that he caught. And he'd complain about the gar and go, this place is just a gar hole, you know, and so to him, a gar hole was a bad fishing hole. So I thought that was kind of catchy, and so we took it a little further. Back in the 70s, I was in college up in Sherman at Austin College, and we actually lived in a dorm, and the entire bottom floor of the dorm was athletes and fraternity guys. So it was kind of like Animal House on steroids. It was bad. This 100-year-old dorm, a bunch of crazy guys, and I talked the two guys across the hall into letting us move our beds from my room into their room. And the four of us would sleep in there, and we would turn my room into this party room. And so we went to Goodwill and found some carpet and got some beanbag chairs, and we WD-40'd the windows so girls could climb through. We had a big sound system, guitars everywhere, and that room was called the Gar Hole. And for the remaining 3 years I was in college, that room was the Gar Hole. And in fact, when I graduated, I was going to stay there and get my master's, and the dean of housing told me, you can't live in your dorm room anymore. And I go, why is that? He goes, because I'm tired of your Gar Hole and all the complaints we would get and the violations. But so over the years, the legend of the Gar Hole, it gets bigger and bigger. So finally, when we bought these buildings, the group of us that bought them all went to college together, and they go, it's got to be the Gar Hole.
That's awesome.
So that's how we carried on. That's why it says established in 1974. And people say, well, this wasn't here in 74. I go, I know. It was in Luckett Dorm at Austin College in 1974.
That was a great story.
So,
that's a really, really great story.
Yeah.
Where's the 1974?
The yellow sign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
And of course, over the years, wherever we lived, some part of my house was like a man cave. And when people find out that there's like, some people collect like polar bear or whatever. Well, I get Gar Hole signs for Christmas, or Gar Hole or Gar skeletons would be sent to me by friends, who, just as a joke. So I've accumulated Gar memorabilia over the year. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and it's catchy, Gar Hole. It's easy to say.
Yeah.
We appreciate those guys. They're been supportive to us. They help us. They speak kindly of us, and so it's helped.
Good deal.
Appreciate it.
Motorcycle, yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
like my wife likes to say, I rode poorly because I've had 3 pretty bad wrecks, and I was telling you guys after the last one, she said, that's it. So that's when I switched over to 4x4s. You want to hear the Bonnie and Clyde story?
Yes.
Okay. So if you look in the records, and they keep pretty good records of all of the activities of Bonnie and Clyde back in the day, you won't find Westminster in there. Okay? And we believe that's because the story of Bonnie and Clyde robbing the Westminster Bank came from a gentleman that came in here to eat one day, 94 years old. And he said, I grew up in that house right back there behind your bar. I go, really? He goes, yeah. And he began to tell me stories, and of course, ultimately it gets to, Bonnie and Clyde robbed this place. And he told me the story how in the summer they would leave the back door open to draw a breeze. And Bonnie and Clyde scoped that out, and they came in the back door. And when they did, the vault is right there in that hallway. The vault was open. So they just went in and robbed the bank and left, and nobody knew. So you can picture how they came down the alley from the street over here, and just came in this back door. And as they were leaving town, one of the townspeople saw them and ran over here and said, Bonnie and Clyde are here, lock it up. And they went back into the vault, and they saw the drawers laying in the floor. So the bank president, he called the board together that night, and you can picture some old farmers in their coveralls sitting there, and he says, boys, get your wallets out. He goes, we've got to come up with $82 because that's all they had in the bank. And they said, what's the deal? He goes, well, there's no way we're going to report this. It's too embarrassing. And so the old board of the bank, the old farmers all pitched in. They never told anybody what happened. But of course, everybody in town knew. And so even though it's not on the historical register, you can ask just about anybody that grew up in this little town of Westminster, and they'll tell you, yeah, that's what happened. They just put the money back in and moved forward.
$82 at current rate back then.
I wonder how much that would be.
Yeah.
So everything outside is the original, maybe cleaned
Yeah,
up.
we didn't change. We threw some Gar Hole signs up, but as far we want to keep this thing, as close to historically relevant as we can.
Such a pleasure
Great.
telling us about this place.
Appreciate
and
you,
the
Ty.
history behind,
Mike,
Bonnie
you
and Clyde.
too. Thanks so much.
We will be here on our bikes sooner or later.
Please do. Look forward to seeing you.